What's up, guys? It's Benny. I happen to be a massive Breaking Bad fan. It's rated the #1 TV series of all time. I agree with that on IMDb. And there's a scene that is very famous in Breaking Bad, probably the most famous scene in the entire series, where Walter White, who's chosen a life of crime in the drug trade as a chemist for a meth lab, decides to tell his wife how powerful he is. And he says, "I am the danger. I am the one who knocks."
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skyler. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
This is one of the most famous scenes in the series. Even if you've never watched the series, I'm sure you can understand what's happening here as the main character literally breaks bad. I play you this clip in order to show you something that will chill your blood and shake you to the bones. This is the face of Vance Luther Bolitar, who gunned down in a politically targeted assassination multiple members of the Minnesota State House, killing one. These members of the Minnesota State House had just sided with Republicans on critical legislation, and Vance was affected by that legislation. He's also somebody who has been appointed by Tim Walz and has even more Tim Walz connections. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this was what Vance looked like when he committed his killings, his targeted political killings. Just hours ago, Vance was wearing what seems to be a Walter White mask. It's a Walter White modeled after, of course, the famous Breaking Bad character, who is the one who knocks and then somebody gets shot. Do you understand? This is utterly terrifying. Halloween mask-wearing suspect plotted killing as police revealed possible motive. Look at this horrifying image here. Bolitar dressed as a police officer. He worked for a security company. And now we know that he was wearing this mask. We have the first imagery of his murders. Minnesota shooting live, utterly terrifying Halloween mask suspect. I am the one who knocks. Evil. Halloween mask wearing suspect on Saturday's politically motivated assassinations in Minnesota is believed to have left the area. FBI announced a reward of $50,000 for information leading to the arrest. Chilling images from the murders have now been released. State Representative Melissa Hortman was shot along with fellow Democrat State Senator John Hoffman in a chilling assassination spree in the early hours on Saturday morning. Hortman and her husband were tragically killed, while Hoffman and his wife suffered serious injuries and were raced to the emergency room. They hopefully will recover. The suspect has been identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolitar, the employee of a security company, Praetorian Guard Security, where he works as the director of security patrols, according to the website. Investigators believe Bolitar was attempting to potentially flee the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area. Minnesota authorities have released several photographs of the suspected gunman, including him wearing a Halloween mask for the shootings. It is a mask that is modeled after the one who knocks. It's a Walter White mask. That's what it is. You can see the goatee. You can see this is a Walter White mask. The around the eyes. There are more images of it, by the way, like you can see here. Holy smokes. This is you can see best res here. You can see it. It's the Walter White mask. That's absolutely what this is. You see with the wrinkles around the face and the eyes. Holy smokes, man. This is crazy. Minnesota authorities admitted they let the gunman who shot Representative Hortman and her husband slip away despite engaging him in a firefight immediately after the murders around 4 a.m. local time. The first shooting occurred just after 2 a.m. Hoffman's home in Chaplin, about 20 miles from Minneapolis. Hoffman and his wife were shot multiple times, reportedly following the surgery. The second attack took place around 4 a.m. The cops released terrifying image of the suspect wearing a Halloween mask. There you go. This it truly is the thing of nightmares. Somebody shows up at your house looking like this. Dear God, just don't answer again. Don't answer the door, man. Jeez. It's just terrible. Well, here's him unmasked. This is his face. I guess there's like mixed messages as to what he may have been targeting here, but here's the breakdown that's gone, the most viral, and I suppose makes the most sense. It definitely connects. This man was not a Republican. This man was appointed to multiple boards by Tim Walz, the Democrat governor. He worked for Democrat NGOs. His wife was an intern for Tim Walz when he was a member of Congress. So this man, not a Republican. The legislature had just repealed health care for criminal aliens. And Melissa Hortman, who's now deceased, was the only Democrat who voted with Republicans to make sure that the bill passed. She broke down in tears after this vote, effectively knowing that she would be now a target. Tim Walz, for his part in this, had just a week ago told Democrats that they need to get a lot meaner, more aggressive, ladies and gentlemen. Police have said this is a political targeting, called it a political targeting. And of course, the man who targeted this moderate Democrat also happens to, here we go, have been appointed to the governor's workforce development board. Tim Walz's signature right there. That's not an auto pen. That's a real signature. Vance Bollicher. There you go. But then it gets even crazier. He also happened to have the No Kings flyers in the back of his car. This is, of course, the anti-Trump left-wing protest that has, gripped the nation. Tim Walz saying, of course, he's friends with shooters. Now I guess it's proven to be true. Tim Walz also has further connections to this, as Tim Walz was slated to speak at the No Kings rally just today. Isn't that crazy? This was since canceled since the shootings. It gets worse, though, ladies and gentlemen. Vance Bollicher was also working for a nonprofit called the Red Lions Group that received federal funding. What was their goal? Their goal was to relocate Africans from Africa into Minnesota. Now, why would somebody who was part of a shady nonprofit want to commit murder, especially right on the eve of the moderate Democrats deciding to shut off free Medicaid and Medicare for illegal aliens? Well, you connect the dots. But if his livelihood is tied to how many Africans can you relocate to Minnesota for free health care, then I have a feeling this guy took a massive hit. Anyway, President Trump said that he's on it. Obviously, all of the law enforcement agents inside of the Trump administration have said that they are on it. Bongino being one of them, who popped off right away. In a matter of just 2 weeks, 2 Tim Walz officials have committed acts of political terror. First, you have Walz's employee vandalizing Teslas, this jackass. And now you have a Walz appointee assassinating politicians. The DOJ should launch an investigation into Tim Walz. Seriously. And then here we go. The Minnesota shooting suspect's Vance Bollicher's wife interned for Tim Walz back in 2010. So don't tell me that he didn't know him. Don't tell me that Tim Walz didn't know him. That is crazy, though. It all makes sense. Disguise yourself as a white supremacist, kill the people who vote across party line. Trump takes the blame per usual. Was that the goal here? Or was it a Walter White? Was this like a shout out to the Walter White line? I don't know, man. But it's freaking terrifying. This is just crazy. Alleged Minnesota shooter Vance Bollicher attempted to gain entry, mask, shaved head. Appears to be an attempt to obscure appearance while gaining entry. Yeah, he's totally wearing a mask. The feds have raided his home, but they didn't find anyone. So here's the description, ladies and gentlemen. The Department of Public Safety released he's 6'1", 220. He's believed to still be in the Twin Cities area at some point in the morning. Security footage shows him in Minneapolis wearing a light-colored cowboy hat, dark colored coat, a dark bag. He may be preparing to flee the area. Call 911 immediately. Assume that he's armed and dangerous. And here it is, the tip line information. There you go. The things of nightmares, man. The total things of nightmares. Absolute horrifying. Like leftism is a mental illness. Pray for the families. It's freaking awful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Super creepy and dark. Okay, I really hope they find this bastard. And release the damn manifesto, will you? Can you release the freaking manifestos? Of course they won't. Release the manifestos. Here's Fox News' most up-to-date reporting on what we know so far.
Happening across the country right now against the Trump administration. Speaking of President Trump, he released a statement after he says he was briefed. Quote, I have been briefed on this terrible shooting that took place in Minnesota, which appears to be a targeted attack against state lawmakers. Our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and the FBI are investigating the situation. They will be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota, a truly great place. And police say that there was also a manifesto with the names of other public officials found inside that car. There is a massive manhunt underway. The FBI on the ground, all hands on deck, trying to find this shooter, John.
And presumably, Brooke, some of the other people on that list could have been victims of this same shooter had police not acted as proactively as they did in the wee hours of the morning.
Exactly. You would imagine you don't think that he probably, the shooter thought that police would get there right away because, again, they acted as a precaution. They knew that these two state lawmakers lived just miles away from each other. So police took it upon themselves to go there, check it out. And that's when they came face to face with him. They stopped him in his tracks. And you never know, most likely could have stopped another event from happening. And he probably had to change course and change his plan after he came face to face with those officers.
And the search.
And he also had to ditch his car, of course.
Right. The search for that gunman is still going on, very much centered around the area where the shooting last took place.
Mm-hmm. And you imagine he couldn't have got far. He's on foot right now. He had to ditch his car. So we hope, we're waiting. I've been checking my emails, my phone, have calls in. We're just waiting to hear some good news that there's been a safe capture.
Yeah, let's hope.